Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be covering the types of circumferential clasp. So I've added the pictures also so that we get help during the image-based questions. So the first one is a simple circlet clasp. Now this is the most versatile and widely used clasp. Now it engages the mesio-buccal undercut. It is good for tooth-supported RPD, not for distal extension, but the only disadvantage is that the clasp can only be adjusted in one direction, that is buccolingually and not occlusogingivally. All right, so now second, this is the, as it is shown, it is the reverse circlet clasp. Reverse circlet clasp. Now this basically engages a, now this is important, distobuccal undercut. Now for distobuccal undercut, you have an order of preference of the clasp. So the first choice is always a T clasp, then we prefer a reverse circlet, then we go on to the hairpin clasp, okay, or the fish hook clasp. Now it is indicated in distal extension RPD, where bar clasp is contraindicated. Now this is basically used when retentive undercut on abutment tooth is located adjacent to edentulous space, right? You can observe in this diagram. Fine. Now let's talk about the third one, which is the multiple circlet clasp. Also remember one thing, there is very like this distobuccal undercut and all, like reverse circlet, this is very like contraindicated also, because it has a lot of disadvantages. First is that it is anesthetic, then it also creates a wedging force between abutment and tooth. Alright, so like you have to have an sufficient occlusal clearance, otherwise thickness will have to be decreased and so on. Alright, then coming on to the next one, which is the multiple circlet clasp. Now in this, basically the two opposing circlet clasp, the reciprocal arms are joined. So reciprocal arms joined at terminal end of two opposing circlet clasp. Now this is also used as a mode of splinting for weakened teeth. Basically you have to like this is used basically to share the retention, shares retention when additional teeth on same side of arch, when primary abutment is weak, okay, is weak. Now let's look at the next one. Now say look at the next one, you can see it is engaging the embrasure. So this is an embrasure clasp. So this is our fourth embrasure clasp. Now embrasure clasp, basically they are two simple circlet clasps joined at body. It is also called as modified crib clasp. It is also called as butterfly clasp. Alright, then butterfly clasp. Now this is indicated for class 2 and 3 without modification spaces. Now let's understand what we mean by this. This is basically used in opposite side of edentulous arch, and this opposite side should not have any edentulous space. And you have to like remember there are double occlusal rests in embrasure clasp, okay. Basically through this we are providing cross arch stabilization. Alright, then let's talk about the next one, fifth. Now fifth is our ring clasp. So this is ring clasp. Now in this basically it is indicated in lingually tipped molars, in mandible it uses the mesiolingual undercut, and in maxilla it engages the mesiobuccal undercut. Okay, now there are like a lot of disadvantages because there's an increased, like you can see, tooth coverage, so it is difficult to like prepare and so on. Now there's one thing, it is also like it has contraindications. First one is if buccinator attachment lies close to lower molar, and second is if bracing arm has to cross soft tissue undercut. Alright, now let's talk about the next one, which is our reverse hairpin. Basically it's hairpin clasp, okay, and it is also called as fish hook clasp. So 6. So in this, basically it engages the distobuccal undercut. Now this is basically a simple circlet clasp which after crossing the facial surface of the facial surface engages proximal undercut beneath its point of origin. See, first it covered the facial, then it engages the proximal undercut. Right, now this reverse fish hook pin, it is basically used in conditions where undercut is near the edentulous space, and it is also indicated in soft tissue undercuts. Now here this upper arm is rigid and lower arm is flexible. Okay, now let's talk about the next one. This is the onlay clasp. Now this is used for submerged abutments which are below normal occlusal plane. Now basically you can see that most of the part is covered. Alright, now because it covers most of the part, so it should be used in areas where there are caries resistant mouth only, like, okay, and it will basically lead to maximum attrition of enamel also, because it's covering a lot of tooth surface, right? Then coming on to the next one, this is our 8th. This is our combination clasp. Now in this you have the retentive and reciprocal arm, so they are made of different materials. Retentive is made of rout and reciprocal is made of cast metal. So it's basically to allow the maximum flexibility of the retentive arm. Alright, and it is used in maxillary canines and premolars due to superior aesthetics. So this can flex and it is given in round configuration. Okay, now let's talk about this one. So this is a back action clasp. Now in back action clasp, basically it is preferred for premolars for anchorage of free end saddles. In this, basically it's a modification of ring clasp. There's a minor connector added to end of clasp arm, and the occlusal rest is left unsupported. Now it has a lot of disadvantages. It has unsound mechanical and biological principles, and it lacks support because the occlusal rest is left unsupported. Then coming on to the last one, this is 10th, half and half clasp. Now this half and half clasp, basically there's the retentive arm from one side of tooth and reciprocal arm from opposite side of tooth in other direction. Okay, as you can see here, there are basically two minor connectors and sometimes an auxiliary rest may be used. Now a lot of times they have asked the indication of half and half clasp, so it is basically the isolated premolar and molar for unilateral bonded partial denture. Okay, so this completes the types of circumferential clasp. If you found this video helpful, do give it a like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.